And we're back. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ROCCAT StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void Championships. We just saw our first Korean defeated, dismantled, guys. That last match, really blew me away. I honestly don't know how it happened.
We said it'd be TY being the weaker link of the Koreans. So far, the stars are aligning.
Well, it was his group being the difficult group.
Yeah. You guys already said from the beginning that the D would be quite interesting, and so far it's proven to be that. And honestly, I just can't imagine why.
I don't know why. But Lilbo, bro, the way that he played against TY,
Shameless.
YOLO style, shameless.
The YOLO style.
Uncharacteristic mistakes from TY as well. The wall off not being a true
yeah.
wall off.
Multiple times.
And making so many Marines, but no bunkers. Like the bunkers, they prevent the adepts from doing extra damage.
Yeah,
So you kind of need them.
I think if he had rushed Neo Steel upgrades so he could fit more of his Marines, if he could fit more of his Marines into those bunkers, then less of them would be vulnerable to the adepts. So clearly it was a lack of the Neo Steel frame upgrade.
We never really got to talk about it because we were so concentrated on what Lilbo was doing. But what did you make of TY's builds? That it was a 3cc build revolving around defensive Cyclone tank Marine.
Honestly,
Because like one Cyclone and then tanks and then Marines.
like the Cyclone makes sense that it defends against Oracles and the Warp Prism if you can get a lock on, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it's very mobile as well. Like if you try and run Adepts after it, they're not going to catch it, and he can keep on shooting. So I like that idea, but I honestly don't think it's necessary. And like tanks and Cyclones both die to Disruptor Balls, which is becoming the norm now within regards to like harassing.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure TY was too well adjusted. Like,
Yeah, honestly, from like most of the TVPs that I've seen played out, like if you can get to stim bio with some medevacs and liberators, like it's like Terran's pretty good. Terran with liberators is very strong against Protoss. Like I honestly don't know that there's a real reason to put yourself at risk, because in my opinion, Warp Prism play or Mass Adept play is the #1 way for Protoss to punish a greedy Terran that takes 3 command centers. I really don't think there's any reason to be that greedy if you're Terran against Protoss right now, because your your late game is so good versus Protoss. It's like the reverse of Heart of the Swarm, you know? Like you don't need to do that power up to be even versus Protoss anymore.
I do think tanks are significantly better against Protoss now. Like, Protoss in Heart of the Swarm used to rely on certain compositions that were like Colossi, lots of Zealots. So tanks did a lot of friendly fire damage if you use them. Also Immortals dealing 10 damage per hit, that sucks. Whereas now, full damage to Immortals, Adepts clump up, and that's what most armies
and the lack of Colossus play as well.
Yeah,
you
so
know.
you can get away with tanks, and they can be good with pushers, but still,
that early on.
Yeah.
Like, you could even still do that. Just don't get the 3rd command center. Get your 2nd and 3rd barracks up faster so that you have enough Marines that if they do jump on top of you like that, you can at least do something. Anyway, this is how Groups C and D are shaping up. Lilbo leading the pack, and Puck actually has won his first match. He's, of course, playing against Happy in our C group.
I'm not sure if Happy Bomb is finished. I don't think it has, which is why it's still 0-0 on this graphic. And I think I can even see a Terran vs. Terran happening in the middle screen down there. I don't know who's watching it. But
So Puck beat Petite Drogo?
Yes, 2-0.
That's actually quite groovy. Well,
I think Puck's, you know, from my conversations with Puck, I spoke to him a lot before this tournament, especially in like prep for things like Nation Wars and whatnot, and he's pretty. I think he's pretty good, man.
Yeah,
he's been basically riding the top of the NA ladder for quite some time.
His stats are great. I remember looking at them during the Nation Wars. It's unbelievable. It's like, I don't know, roughly 115 wins and like 20 losses or so, or less than that maybe. Yeah, it's really high, really high.
Honestly, when I spoke to both Puck and State, as like, especially the games, because for the Nation Wars tournament, it was basically like one game on EU, next game on NA, and the games on NA were obviously the games where Puck and State were able to take those maps off of Bly and Damaga and them, but then so for them, they felt like, okay, they were really the best place to showcase them. And since, they're playing on land, this is a really big opportunity for Puck especially to show what he's got.
And he doesn't get that many chances either, so I'm sure he's going to try to grab this one by the horns. And so far, so good. This big match coming up next against Happy, though.
And Puck plays a very fun style as well. We should see Warp Prisms in this match, and we should see Disruptor play.
Yeah.
He has a pretty good grip on PVT from the conversations I've had with him. This should be like, if this goes into the long game, I mean, obviously we know Happy is like that guy that was, even in Heart of the Swarm, willing to play out the long game. Naturally, it's shaken up a bit in Legacy of the Void, but have you seen much of Happy's play to Muslim?
Actually, look, Happy was a guy that used to stream pretty much all the time, but I've seen nothing of him besides what I've played against him, so I've only seen his TVT, and what I've noticed is he's adapted very, very quickly to the most safe build that he can do, and then he just relies on the fact that he's probably going to do it way better than you, so he doesn't. There's no way to really blind counter him at the moment, which was something that he was very susceptible to in Heart of the Swarm. Right now, he's going for a safe build, and people don't really realize how to take advantage of him because he is predictable. But right now, he's played so much, and he boasts like an 80% win rate on the European ladder at rank 1, I do believe.
Like we talked about earlier, that should be a very good way to approach this, don't you think?
Yeah.
Not going for the triple commands like TY did here. We saw that fall flat on it. It didn't work out well.
Yeah.
I think Happy's approach, just listening to you guys talk about TVP and how Terran is favored the longer the game goes, or that scary Liberator Marine Medivac comp, I think Happy's approach should be very good going into this.
He's also been a guy that relied on micro, and Legacy of the Void has just made it so micro is so much more important.
It rewards it so much. Like if he can get himself into a position where, like I said, you take that later third against the Protoss, you get your Stim, your Medivacs, and make the transition to Liberators without dying to anything, you should be able to win straight up engagements, assuming that you don't clump up versus a Disruptor Ball.
And I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but he's played one of the highest amount of games on the ladder, right? I remember looking at his account, and I think the highest amount of games right now may change a little bit, but it's like 450, 500 is getting up to that kind of mark now.
And
he was
insane.
at the top. Like, that's a lot of ladder games.
And the game came out like 16 days ago.
And 500 games.
If I play 10 games on ladder, like just on Europe anytime, 4 of them are going to be against Happy. Like, it really is insane. And he's so methodical. He'll literally do the same thing day in, day out. Like, you'll get harassed by his SCV in the same pattern. Even the way it goes around your building, it'll go the same way around.
Wow.
Like you can really
So
predict
it's like
Happy.
he plays in an Australian server. Does SCV go the other way around,
It's nuts, man. Like, you even know it's Happy by saying, like, GL have fun or what have you, and he just replies, have fun only. Like, methodical to a T.
Here's Lambo, by the way. I'm happy he got through group stages earlier.
He's actually looking very strong. Like, he was one of the first qualifiers from the Western region. Like, for a long time, he was overshadowed by a lot of other German players, such as like TLO, Showtimes and such. But yeah, he's actually very good in Legacy of the Void.
I remember casting him last 6 months of Heart of the Swarm, and it was in the German EPS. And I was really surprised that he was going toe-to-toe with Kung Fu Panda. Like, he really started to climb up in skill in the last 12 months for sure. And he is doing good. I'm happy he got out of groups.
He's actually quite a smart guy too. Like, if you talk to him, he'll be very, very pinpoint about why he lost. Be it he made too many units or something.
Sounds like someone else I know.
Like who? Oh, Snooty? They are actually.
I mean, sometimes you can say, yeah, I lost because I had, this and this was wrong. It's not always the case though. Like, sometimes you can say something and it might not be correct. But I think Lambo is also the type of guy that's not afraid of reaching out to others to help them pinpoint his mistakes. Like, so he's very good at learning how to get better and using other Zerg players as well.
Absorbing knowledge.
Yeah.
From just RTS knowledge in general, that's actually something that not a lot of people to hold, The ability to reach out and say, look at my mistakes, because everyone's kind of like a 1v1 guy, right?
And also, ego plays such a huge part. You always like to think you know best, but if you can truly take somebody and accept knowledge from them and absorb it, that's such a strength.
Yeah, that's the thing about StarCraft. Like, after the game, you have to figure out what did I do right, what was good and what was not good. And sometimes you can find things that make sense, but you don't really know until you actually confirm it by testing and all this stuff. So you can't exactly trust yourself, and that's the scary part about StarCraft. It's often very useful to ask others as well. And I think Lambo, he's the type of guy that doesn't have that massive ego that it's just like, yeah, I lost this, I should have just done this and this. Sure, but he is also the guy that listens to other players and learns from them. And
I have to talk about Happy because he's, I don't want to call it arrogance, but he's the polar opposite of accepting knowledge. Like, I remember there was one time that Pro League was going on, and the day that was being played, it had Innovation playing, and him specifically, every Terran watches him because it's like, okay, whatever he does,
Yeah.
or Maru, you watch. Like, you have to. I remember Happy one day was complaining on Twitter that he was getting no games during Innovation games on ladder. And I remember Targa was just like, yo, dude, it's Pro League. Like, Innovation's playing. Why aren't you watching? But Happy's approach to other players is he just doesn't care as long as he perfects his own. So early on in Legacy of the Void, the fact that he's played so much and he's probably as close to perfect as anybody is right now with regards to what he's doing.
Yeah.
This is a time when he's going to be scarier than any other.
Yeah, interesting to know, I did see earlier we had a shot of Bomber, seemed to be out of his game, so perhaps the
I think
Happy
it
series
ended.
has been resolved. So
But if it did end, it was 1-0 in favor of Bomber, so I'm assuming that it was 2-0 for Bomber. I
All
doubt
right.
it would have gone to a third game. Maybe I'm
Okay.
wrong, but
okay.
I'll try and check actually.
Yeah, so we were waiting on an update on that, obviously. And then, of course, as soon as we have information regarding getting this next match going between Happy and Puck, we will be right on top of that. Interesting, because I find this also interesting because Puck, in Heart of the Swarm, I felt like playing against Terran was actually one of his weaker matchups. Historically, he was like pretty much known for being phenomenal at PvZ. He was one of those guys that took series off Hyun regularly in WCS America and whatnot. He was like the guy that could beat really good Zerg players, but that was pretty much it. You know, he would struggle against guys like Huck and Bales on NA and PvP. He says he likes PvP a lot more in Legacy of the Void, but I'm very interested to see where his PvT falls because he would struggle a lot versus players that were way worse than like the Zergs he would beat, for example.
And this is no ordinary, excuse me, it's no ordinary PvT either, it's PV Happy.
Yes.
So how is Puck going to adapt?
And if he hasn't seen any of Happy yet, like,
What's Happy going to do?
honestly, I think he's going to make it go to the late game. And I think he's going to rely on his mechanical strength because everybody knows that he's very, very, very competent late game.
Yeah. But will he get there, though? Because, like you said, we saw the style from Puck and most of your team, Captain America over there, perform in Nation Wars, and it was very, very disruptor heavy.
Did you see Puck against Terran?
I think he played
He
that
did
map
play Terran.
against Kaas.
Yes.
Because he picked up 2 kills there.
Showtime with the floating wrist technique, by the way.
That's so weird.
I did tell you.
It is weird.
Oh, he's doing that thing where he tries to keep his wrists from blowing up, right?
He
Well-
just has it floating the whole time.
It's so
I'm pretty sure that's actually good for your wrist, though. Not having it pressed down on the table.
It might mean in harness, it might be.
Yeah.
Snoop, what do you think?
I think cutting off
You look like
circulation
a wrist expert.
is what kills it.
I don't really have a lot of wrist problems. I think it's better to consult Dario about this.
Dario.
Dr. Dario.
Is the
I'm not sure
keyboard
if he-
hover hand
I'm not
good?
sure if he's listening right now. Probably shouldn't be. Dr. Dario should know.
Keyboard over
We can
here.
call the doctor.
I see the doctor right here,
No,
actually.
my
He's right
thoughts-
there.
Dario, we got a question for you.
The doctor.
The hover hand is good. It's a thumbs up from the doctor.
All right.
Yeah.
Doctor says the hover hand is an
It's a bit of
acceptable.
a piano thing. Like you're not supposed to press the.
Yeah. Well, doing that literally cuts off the circulation to your hands, which is what causes your wrists to fall apart. That is actually it's like a medical problem to just cut the circulation off of your
But at
hands.
the same time, I can't help but feel that it looks a little bit eerie, like the way
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was moving.
That's weird.
It's
Wait, have
kind
you
of
got-
cool and a little bit creepy.
Are you like this type of guy with the
I'm
TLO
I'm
like
the typical.
chunk?
I'm the typical lazy.
Oh, so you're
just,
like down here.
I did
Okay.
Just resting
I like
on
the
the table.
Maru.
Yeah.
I like the Maru. A lot of the Korean players now use the
wrist,
wristbands.
yeah.
I love the wristbands.
Like the sweat
Yeah,
bands.
just a little bit of compression on it keeps the table from completely cutting it off. And it's, a lot of the Korean players, Zest as well, I know.
Whose beard is that?
This is Petite Drogo.
That's PT Drogo
Okay.
beard, for sure.
Always has his
Drogo.
keyboard like that too.
How many
Oh,
StarCraft
yeah.
players can grow a beard like that we even know of that would compete here?
Well, Targa.
Target.
It's not here though.
I
Kind
There's
of a silly
I mean,
name.
A, he's not here. B, we have Protoss on the screen, so that's another thing to consider.
You never know. I don't know. That's a good question. How many pro gamers have beards? That's
It's a rare breed out there.
It
yeah.
is.
You
Like,
say it's rare, but like the whole of the old EG used to have chin straps
The
and stuff,
chin
you know?
strap.
Yeah.
That's different, though.
And then I remember like multiple other people growing a chin strap, like Cats, and people were like, "Oh yeah, he wants to join EG." Rhett as well developed a chin strap and stuff.
Rat, yeah. Trying to think of European names though, and I can't really think of that.
Lie,
many.
it's got a bit of a chin strap going on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Parting, he's starting getting some.
Dude, Parting's got patches. It's hilarious.
He's got some fuzz going.
Yeah.
I wonder how many years that took, right? So right now, I'm basically just waiting for a little bit more information on the next series as we get ready to go into it. We don't know enough, honestly.
Do you
I
know
haven't
where
seen,
Happy's sitting? Oh, I can see him. He's at the
He's
back.
over there.
Yeah, he's at the back.
I haven't seen enough of either of these guys play, to be honest, especially not against each other. So I really don't know what to expect.
I love watching Koreans play TVT though. Like
Yeah.
they always seem
it's
to
so
know
good.
something new before everybody else. And we saw that Bunny, like he's a very competent player, but he's always had a weak spot against Korean Terrans just because they're so ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
More so than any other like mirror matchup or any other matchup actually. It's truly like mind-blowing to see. But given that Happy's played so much, this could be an opportunity for him.
Yeah, I think it's also really interesting that you mentioned that because it's something that we'll definitely be looking into for Legacy of the Void. As usually, like you mentioned, like we watch Pro League, you'd see a sick TVT build, and that's instantly the meta, you know? Like it just changes like that.
Thonius, I've been updated.
Update
with the
me.
situation. I'll update all of you. So what I'm assuming is it's not 2-0 and it's 1-1. I'm assuming. So Bunny vs TLO instead.
Okay. Things are about to get creative
They're
in here.
about to get very liquefied.
I love watching teammates play as well.
Why? Tell me.
Because there's always stuff going on that you don't quite know about. It's like, I know that I've played teammates in the past, and they've used info against me that I feel very betrayed by. And like, you know, Todd and Grubby in the past, when in fact, Todd still can't live this down. Like, he told Grubby, because they were in the same team in Warcraft 3, he's like, okay, I can't beat Undead, so let's avoid putting me on maps against Undead. And then they went to a tournament like 2 weeks later in China, and they got to the final against one another. And it came down to like veto, and Todd vetoed correctly against Orc, Grubby's main race.
He didn't.
Then freaking Grubby picked that map, picked Undead, and knocked Grubby out in the final.
Like Todd out. Wow.
Yeah.
Savage.
Anything goes.
The way that you asked Ben was almost
probably
that you
deserved
wanted
it.
to know, but what do you dislike about team mates playing? Apart from obviously
Well, they are your own
knocking,
teammates.
knocking your friend
just
out.
from watching it, I mean, there's nothing too different. The matches are usually a little bit more crazy,
Yeah.
a little bit more creative.
Because you kind of know what the other person's exactly doing.
Yeah.
Or you do something totally different to try and throw them off.
The matches get a little bit messed up. Weird things start happening that you normally wouldn't see versus other players. And, you know, when you practice together, you get to learn a lot of weaknesses. I don't know.
Who do you
things
think
just get weird.
benefits? I mean, granted, it's Legacy of the Void, it's a little bit different, but who do you think benefits from knowing each other? Is it TLO who benefits from this, or is it Bunny? I mean, maybe you can draw a comparison to yourself when you play Bunny, like who usually benefits about knowing each
I'm
other.
pretty sure Bunny benefited the most from that, judging by the record. I think Bunny.
And you think it could be the same here as well? Bunny benefit? Or is it too
I'm
hard
not
to
sure.
say, maybe?
I'm not sure this time around in Legacy.
Yeah.
So I can't answer it. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
I always thought, well, HOTS, Bunny was one of the best. And whenever these two had series in HOTS, it would always be insanely close, actually. Like, just 2-1 in Bunny's favor. But Bunny was definitely one of the absolute best foreigners. So TLO's definitely got that mental kind of game on him, you know? Though, it's so early that people have just been spamming the ladder. I don't think there's much time to really study everybody else. I think you're really trying to perfect your own play.
Yeah.
So
So give us some inside info with the Skype group. Talk to us. I mean, has Bunny been raging a lot? Has he been happy a lot? Because I've seen TLO stream.
Bunny is a very happy guy.
Okay.
I haven't seen a lot of salt.
No?
I think if I've seen anything, it's just the normal, typical Terran tiers. The Nidus Worms, the
I talk with Bunny quite a
Ravagers, the typical Terran tiers.
Okay.
he
Maybe-
likes ghosts.
All right then.
I hope to see some. I've heard a lot about them.
It would be nice to see some. We
that
have yet to see a
sounds-
single ghost so far.
That sounds pretty cool. They are actually pretty sick to see in action.
How many shots does it take to kill an Nautilus? It's
About-
very low.
About 3 or 4,
Yeah,
or 3 with a few extra shots from stuff.
The snipe does like 170
70, yeah.
damage.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Just,
The only
3
weakness,
shots.
the only weakness of it is the wind up time. So, but it's really good for picking.
And I guess
picking units
interrupted
off.
too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Say
you get
land
attacked,
a fungal,
Yeah.
a broodling bites the ghost, then you can't shoot
Right.
anymore.
it's really. I think it's really good when you're in that weird back and forth phase, trying to pick off a unit or two. But we are actually ready to get into that series. It will be, as you said, Bunny versus TLO, as Happy is not yet finished with Bomber. We're going to send it over to the casters. Good luck, have fun.
Thank you, as the dramatic zoom to our faces takes place. This is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a fun one. It's a bit of a surprise. I was interested, obviously, to see Europe versus America, but this can be just as fun with Bunny versus TLO.
Yeah, I always like to see Team Liquid play. I always like to see Bunny play.
Yeah.
And TLO, I've known TLO for so long now. Like, he's one of my good friends. So seeing these two guys, and Bunny's my Archon mode partner, there's just, I have so much investment in this that I am genuinely curious who I think is going to win too.
I have no idea. I've watched a lot of Dario's stream. He plays a mix of styles, obviously. I mean,
Yes.
it's Dario, so it's a little bit hard to predict exactly. So we'll see. The game one has loaded. Let's jump into this. It is Team Liquid going up against each other. It's up here to the top right-hand side as the red Zerg player on the first map hit. It is TLO.
And that is not him.
That's Bunny, but it's okay.
Oh, I can
They
see
are
why you make the
teammates
mistake.
after all.
Yeah.
There's
Wow,
Bunny.
look at Bunny. 89% against Protoss, apparently.
Oh, sounds like someone's in trouble. DreamHack's such a funny place. It's like an admin in the Smash Brothers area.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys can hear, but there is an ambulance sound going off. Not too far away from us, extremely loud.
That's really funny, actually. We're kind of looking at it. Oh, okay. Are we doing TLO now again? Oh, no. No,
Yeah, we're looking at TLO again. We looked at TLO
so I was
twice.
totally ignoring the game for a second.
Okay.
TLO is 1-1 in his group, by the way. Just looking at this. He beat Majestic 2-0, but he lost versus Nurchio. And Bunny is 0-2.
Bunny 0-2?
Bunny 0-2.
Who did he play so far?
Bunny lost against TY opening match, and then lost versus Majestic 2-1.
Wow,
So
okay.
huge game, actually. And look at how TLO's opened on this such crazy map with no ramp.
Yeah, this map, yeah, you pointed out it has no ramp. That is an immediate wow for Zerg. They can run wild. You're not running Zerglings up a ramp in which you cannot see what lies at the top. You can actually not take damage. And we see that Bunny's actually gone for a CC first, so...
Isn't this like an ideal situation for TLO?
This is...
It's like beautiful. Like
This is a perfect situation for TLO. Even look at the position of Bunny's barracks. So he's going to throw down a reactor probably. So busting through that, you just blow up the reactor and you're in the base because you want to eventually get a factory, I'd imagine. Here we have a bunker at the front, which it's very out in the open. And this, yeah, this is not looking healthy. And
there's one Marine being built, and that's it. There's just a single Marine and SCVs. The Overlord, though.
It looks like he's trying to bait out the Marine here.
Yeah. And here it is, been baited out, and here comes TLO, who's going to grab that Marine instantly. Bunker nowhere near finishing.
Oh, man.
And Bunny 0-2 in this tournament. Looks like he's going to be opening with an instant loss against TLO. A disaster
no cancel
of a tournament so far.
This is looking dire. Look, there's Zerglings in the base.
Can't do anything. He actually just can't build any units. It's SCVs against Zerglings. Balin Nestor's done. And this is going to be a shake of the head, can't believe this is happening to me moment.
And you know, these losses are the worst because you know how happy your opponent's feeling. And seeing those Balings morphing on the other side, that just makes you incredibly sad.
Yeah.
And this win was so easy for TLO. And immediately Bunny's thinking, holy crap, does this guy know me better than I know me?
Yeah, 2 ways to get in, and he destroys the building supply depot, and inside he goes, trying to build a single Hellion, but not sure that's going to be enough here. TLO ravages the SCVs, and there is hardly any left at this point. And as you can see, only 3 remain. GG, TLO. Whew. Nice and easy victory in game number 1.
And that map, I'm not sure how that got into this series, because that is definitely one of the ones you try to avoid at all costs. Not only is there no ramp between your natural and main, but there's actually rocks in the back of your main also. So that is a Zerg haven in every sense of the word.
Yeah, it's a crazy start. I can't believe Bunny is also 0-2 in this group. 0-3's out. Like, it's very, very rare to come back and have a 3-way tie or something to get out of this group. So he's got a lot of work to do if he's going to turn this around here, Demonslem.
He certainly does have his work cut out for him. And it doesn't really get much easier. Ruins of Ceres, it's decent. You can perform a pretty similar strat as we saw just then, but yeah, it's going to be tough for Bunny.
Especially just like breaking through this mental barrier of I'm having a very bad tournament right now and it's not getting any better.
Yeah, he's currently 0-2 and yes, it started off against TY. he's the Korean of the group.
Yeah.
He could be like, okay, well, I might lose this. I'm probably going to lose this, whatever. But then losing against Majestic as well, who we didn't really talk much about him being like a huge threat of the group, but he's also a strong player, and he lost against him too.
Yeah.
And now his teammate just killed him in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
This is really going to... This is going to show Bunny's like mental fortitude here.
I mean, Snoot can probably tell us if we're right or wrong as well, but from seeing Bunny over the years, he's a pretty emotionally invested character. He gets upset. Like
he does.
I mean, I think Snoot teased him so much one game in WCS that he was actually genuinely upset with him. I think it was the time they played in Portier.
Really?
I think it was the draft. Or the picks, or the drawing, should I say, for the round of 8. And Snoot and Bunny got drawn against each other. And Snoot said, like, this is going to be so easy.
Yes.
And, like, taking the fun out of him.
Yeah.
And he got actually very upset about that.
But then Bunny beat him.
And then beat him anyway, but yeah. He's an emotional character. Is Bunny an emotional character? Does he get emotional very much?
He gets
Shake of the head.
He gets, he gets angry at himself, I think, more so than anything else. Like, I've never... Can you imagine Bunny lashing out at anybody? Because I can't.
No. He's not that type of guy, is he?
No.
But TLO now, a single game away from recovering. He's currently 1-1 in this group. 2-1 puts him in a very good position to fight for a top 3 in the toughest group here at DreamHack Winter. Group D is so stacked with the best players in here, but only 3 of them are going to advance out. It's, of course, Lilbo leading the charge. TY is in there, Nurcho's in there, TLO, Bunny, and also Majestic. I don't think I forgot anyone, did I? No, that's it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. It's a good group.
It's the best group, man.
So, Ruins of Ceres. Let's talk a little about this. Big map. I guess TLO is obviously going to be over the moon if it's cross position. No?
Yes, but
Okay.
there's potential for close positions too, be it like vertical or horizontal, which...
But we know Dr. Dario can cook something up for close positions.
It might actually be good for Dario to be close to a Terran. Right now, I haven't seen like many proxy rack strategies really thrown out, be it like single proxy racks Reaper.
Your speciality.
That, yeah.
We're in bang in the middle?
As close to my opponent as it
Or would
could
you
possibly
like
be.
go for the gamble where you put it on one side of the map and hoping it's one of the 2 positions?
Proxy Rax Reaper is actually better against Protoss than it is Zerg right now.
Really?
Purely because the game moves so fast that you need that barracks to build a reactor against Zerg for your factory or what have you. So, but against Protoss, it's not really necessary as early on.
Okay.
All right, that's what I've experimented with.
I think we're just... I'm actually looking over there. I can see Dario's screen.
He's
You
getting
could
ready,
cast
man.
it from his screen almost. And he's in the
My
game
eyesight
lobby.
isn't that good.
Your eyesight's pretty bad, actually.
Yeah, I can't do it. Oh, Facebook. Oh,
No, Team Liquid. He's on Team Liquid,
Team
guys.
Liquid.
He's reading the comments. So
I'm so good. Oh,
he's reading the comments in the Team Liquid thread by the looks of it. So the live report thread, he's watching you.
do they see how creative I am?
I bet they like it when I use this slide.
Oh my, are you like quoting Asus from like a long time ago?
I think he heard us laughing. Like, I think.
Stay quiet.
Didn't say anything. He's looking at us.
I can't really... I see he's facing this way because of the lights. I can't actually see what he's
I
looking
can't
at.
see his facial expression. It could be mad.
I wonder if he is mad at us. I doubt it. Dario is such a friendly guy.
He had his soundproof headset on. He couldn't possibly know what we're talking about. Unless someone told him.
I don't know. The way that he's tapping his fingers is not that of a calm man.
Why would you tell the internet that I'm reading their comments? Oh, Darrow. Right now he's on Liquipedia. He's on look at the groups.
Soon the comment's going to pop up about us making fun of him, and then he's going to really turn around.
That's when we're screwed. Hopefully he wins, so he's in a good mood. He's like, yeah, I am 1-1 in my group.
Our attempts at being German are just so bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. I'm sorry. I apologize to the German viewers. We're pretty bad. They're still in game lobby just waiting to jump in. I don't know. Have you seen where Bunny's sitting? Oh,
I think he's over there, yeah.
Oh, he's there. I see him. He's watching, I think, Bomber. He's sitting next to Bomber. Just
I haven't
let you
seen
guys know.
Happy leave his PC either from like that Bomber series. Because that is why we had to switch to this series.
I don't know, man. All right, so we're starting the game. I think they've loaded into it, so we'll be getting into it right away here. Yeah, Happy, I think he's doing vetoes with not Bomber, obviously. I can't see who's standing next to him, but I think that series must be over. We need to get some updates on how these other games are going too.
I'd like to know the time of that series and like just the score of that series, because that seemed to, well, that's why we had to switch to this series, just because Happy and Bomber was taking so long, I do believe.
Yeah, well, here we are loaded in to the first, or second, sorry, map between these two players after TLO had a fantastic start. Up here to the top left-hand side is that red Zerg player. It's TLO.
That is actually TLO this time too.
It is. It's a very swift start.
And
you.
Spawning over in the top right, I do believe.
I think so, yes. It's
It
hard to
is
see.
Liquid's Bunny.
Okay.
Bunny once hailed as the best foreigner. I just saw Snoot look down as soon as I say that.
Yeah. You know the best thing about Snoot is he told me a funny story about when he was in China. Someone asked him about being the best non-Korean, and he replied along the lines of, I'm probably going to butcher it a little bit, but he says, you know what? I am the best non-Korean outside of WCS. But in WCS, it's Lobo.
Oh, so here, anyhow, a more standard build from TLO. He actually is going for the hatchery first. And, you know, if you do start off a series, I always like to talk about this. I like to, if you know that you're capable of being aggressive and winning games straight out, like we saw Huck win with a DT build earlier, you really set the pace of the series. And kind of knowing that Bunny does like CC first, and he's always liked CC first, he knew he could take advantage of it. And this game, Bunny's automatically going to be playing a bit more conservative, and we do see that he goes barracks, then he goes gas,
Yeah.
then he goes CC, but a second gas on the way. That means he will be using some form of tech to try and slow down his opponent.
And what's it going to be? Double Reaper coming out. Same opening that we saw from our Canadian friend Semper a little bit earlier on. And I actually very much so enjoyed his games. So I wonder if Bunny's going to go down a similar route or not.
One of the sad things about this map for Double Reaper, or at least if you get up to like 4 or so, there aren't that many cliffs around the middle of the map. So if you get caught out, look, it's very, very open spaces here. If you get caught out by Lings, they're dead. So you have to be extremely careful with them. But it's going to be his follow-up that I'm curious about. So he is going up to the 4 Reapers here.
And then there's
second
the
and
double
third
barracks.
Yeah.
So same as Semper so far. What do you make of this build? I don't think it doesn't sound like you played it, but what do you make of it upon looking?
I actually like these kind of builds quite a lot. If he goes for double tech lab on the barracks and goes, I'd usually have like an engineering bay going on at the same time here,
Yeah.
lining up stim and +1 engineering bay or +1 weapons attack, and then getting combat shields as well. You can do very deadly timings there.
Yeah.
Marauders are now actually a lot better against Zerglings. I talked about how they would 3-shot Zerglings with an attack upgrade rather than just 4-shotting. So, yeah, but we'll see what Bunny does with this.
I think one thing that you have to take into consideration is the overlords, right, as well, because TLO scouted south first. He doesn't really have an overlord that's going to get into the main base anytime soon. The second one is by the natural soon, but that will always be blocked by Marines, so he's never going to get inside to see exactly what this is.
And what does he think this is? Does he think this was like a 2-Rax Reaper? Or does he know that it's Rax Reactor Reapers? I mean, the fact that... Oh, and keeping those Reapers alive, very important.
Good job, yeah, very good job.
He did get to see, though, that, yes, it was 2 more Reapers, but he also got to see the Marine switch. So he knows it's not going to be more than 6.
Oh, he didn't get any scouting information there. He just saw the... Well, I suppose, he did get the 5th and 6th, but there is a lot of Zerglings on the way. A Baneling Nest has been thrown down as well by TLO, so we'll see how far he takes this. But at the moment, there is a ton of Zerglings trying to protect this hatchery from going down as well.
I think Bunny might be doing this, you know. If you get a few nades on those Reapers, I mean, Zerglings,
Well,
the
one
Zerglings
Reaper
are being
goes
split
down.
up. But look how low they all
Yeah.
are. And these Reapers, they're going to regenerate.
There's still a ton of Zerglings being made. There's
Baneling
so
Nest.
many being made. Yeah, I just mentioned it, but 18 additional Zerglings.
Oh, man, this is going to be an all-in. And, like, a really, really hard all-in, too. And Bunny needs to realize this sometime. In fact, as soon as he can.
He may lose every single Reaper, and that's going to be a disaster. He tries to get a wraparound on this, and where does he go? He's trying to micro back, but there is so many Zerglings. He jumps up, but there's already Zerglings waiting there, and now he's starting to figure it out, but every single Reaper goes down. And now, the defense. He's got to defend. He's got 10 Marines, but there is 36 Zerglings.
Oh, no.
There is the Bailey that's now finished up, and he's looking for a kill right in the middle of all these other structures, getting their add-ons and being able to produce units. Here we go. This could be the way that Bunny goes 0-3 in this tournament.
I tell you what, though, that's a really good position to have those Marines right next to the bunker. That bunker isn't going to fall anytime soon. These SCVs, though, they are playing with fire.
And here we go, they've morphed, and he's going to take all these SCVs, or at least the majority of them, but so far, Bunny holds on. It is nowhere near over yet as more and more Zerglings come flooding through. Where are they going to target? I suppose the bunker. It goes down. The Marines inside also get killed. Marines popping out on the other side of that barracks get slaughtered instantly as well. And there is very few units here left to defend.
He opened the wall, but I suppose he's going to do that to try and save his SCVs here. He needs to get that wall closed.
He does.
And yes, just in time. These Banelings blow up to no avail here.
Only 10 SCVs! Only 10 SCVs, and now the wall goes down. This is not a 3 command center build. He is only on 2 currently. He still holds a little bit on this top.
And you can tell Bunny's nervous. He's even making a Reaper here in the midst of madness, but that's just because Dr. Dario's forcing the mistakes out of it.
But is this a win? Is this going well for TLO? He's broken his opponent's second, but it's still 20 SCVs to 31.
Honestly, if you're fighting with slow Banelings against a guy like Bunny, one thing that Bunny has been very, very well known for throughout his career is his ability to Baneling snipe. And if there's anyone that can do that, it's Bunny.
All right, well, TLO's starting to drone behind this. He's also managed to squeeze out an Evolution Chamber to get +1 melee attack. He's got double medivacs here, so he can pick up if need be.
Look at that. He's sniping these Banelings, picks up, he's going to get behind that depot.
He's going to lose 4 or 5 Marines, though, that were on the wrong side of the supply depots, unfortunately.
Ooh, one good thing is, so I believe TLO's +1 attack finished?
Yes, +1 attack.
Okay, but what's really, really significant here is not having armor against Marines, also against tanks now on the field. They one-shot Lings, and the Marines, they deal 7 damage per hit now. That means Banelings die in 5 hits from Marines, so it's kind of scary for TLO. He needs to assemble a good defensive army and just overwhelm Bunny here.
Yeah, well done, Bunny, for holding strong against this attack. He's moving forward now with quite a beefy army. +1 Carapace is the upgrade on the way now for TLO. The Roachroaren's almost finished, but not going to come into use. And TLO doesn't really have any supply to work with either. Stuck at 74-74. He only has the units in production and the ones out to work with. This could be a counterattack that might not be stoppable.
Oh, maybe he committed too much to creep there, but look at those snipes. You see them happening, right? Bunny's stutter-stepping, sniping those Banelings down, and while he's not got a lot of Marines left, actually, Bunny...
What happened to the tank?
Yeah, he's in trouble.
Where did the tank go? It must have got killed really fast.
TLO ate it, man.
He ate it.
116 Lings lost. Still kind of losing Lings a little bit sloppy here. Ooh.
And that third base does not want to lose it. There's only 3 Marines left, though, as Queens and Zerglings do pushes back, taking down a Medivac for their pleasure.
This is as scrappy as games get.
Yeah.
Neither one has a significant lead. I put TLO a little ahead here.
Yep, Snoot nods.
But all it takes is a few fights to go really badly, because, I mean, Lair Tech only just started. That means that there's no Roach speed available, no Baneling speed available, and just a few drone snipes here and there, a few efficient trades.
Well, waiting for this one on the natural there. 3-4 Queens ready to take down the Medivac. The units do unload, though. Where are the Zerglings? They're incoming. He's going to target down that Medivac, ideally, to keep it from escaping.
That was really good hold by TLO, even killing the Widowmine just before it burrowed there.
Yeah, I think I'm very impressed with TLO being able to have units everywhere in defense against this. This is not easy to be able to split his units in every single position. So far, handling okay, a little bit weak on this third base.
And damage is being done now, slowly but surely. But still, the army that TLO's accumulating,
yes,
he's eventually just going to be able to run over to Bunny and just murder him. We have no wall here at this ramp. Tanks, sure, they're good, but Ravagers are better.
And I think it's 1-1 now as well for TLO, compared to 1-0 only for Bunny currently. So a slight upgrade lead in favor of the German. And his force is becoming, as you said, quite strong.
I'm kind of scared about this huge amount of Zerglings, though. I feel Zerglings, even though he's got the upgrades for them, against Tank Marine, in fact, moving down this ramp, this This is almost certain death for Bunny.
No, don't say that.
Not anymore. The Lings, they're looking to get into that mineral line rather than to take a head-on fight here. He knows that if the game goes on, eventually Bunny's going to have to take a third base.
This is going to do huge amounts of damage. That is not a small amount of Lings. There is a single tank, though. Maybe the leftover trickling units of reinforcements will be enough to defend it. But here we see Bunny pushing on to creep, dropping in the main at the same time while scanning and clearing that creep.
This is still really, really, really futile.
Here we go. There's a tank,
lot of
5
Lings.
Marines.
I loved how he
Zerglings.
initially split those Lings because he was worried about potential of Widow Mines and such. But these Lings, they're not really dealing the damage that he truly wanted to, and that tank, it kind of went unhindered there. Now, this is a huge drop into the main.
Oh, I don't think there's enough in that main base at the moment. The Zerglings are being cleared up eventually. It looks like they're going to pick off one more tank, though, before they do get cleaned up. That's always nice. But here's the big drop. What does TLO have here?
Oh, a lot of dead drones and overlords. And TLO, he's just fully committing to a counterattack. In fact, he has a lot back at home.
Yeah,
this is getting close.
to get some connections.
I feel that Bunny's got enough to deal with this almost. If he dodges the... Oh, man, this is so intense.
Not quite enough to be able to stop that, but at the same time, I'm not sure Bunny has enough to deal with this. A bunch of Zerglings and Roaches come through. That's a nice and easy kill. He's going to turn his attention to the SCVs to try to bring down that count low once again. TLO attacking, destroying a lot of them.
TLO's relentless with this aggression, and he's holding on back at home. Yes, it looks like he's losing a lot, but he has more economy to play with here, so it's actually fine.
What a crazy, fun game this is between the both of them. I'm sure it's highly such a pressured situation at this point. But here we go, TLO with a big morph of Roaches to Ravagers and still being able to flood. I think TLO, considering on 3 hatcheries, I think his injects have been pretty on point, considering the amount of units he's been able to produce over and over and over.
Yeah, and it's not as if Bunny gave him time to think about it and collect all his thoughts. And here, that's a large Zerg army. Yes, a lot of Marines actually too, but more Ravagers joining the fray.
Does he have enough to defend this?
It's going to be close, Apollo. 50 supply against 100, though. TLO's making this look... Oh, GG.
2-0 for TLO, taking out Bunny. TLO goes 2-1 in group stages with still more games to play. Unfortunately, Bunny 0-3 at the DreamHack ROCCAT Legacy of the Void Championship here at DreamHack Winter. But what a crazy series. I mean, Paling all in, game number 1, and then this game number 2.
It was pretty wild indeed. TLO knew how to play. He knew the weaknesses of Terran.
Yeah.
And he's a player that's definitely played around with the other races. So he is a player that I expect to know of races' weaknesses, not as well as their strengths.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely played really, really well. He's a smart player.
Very smart player. Joined here on the desk as we do get the winners interview ready by Snoot and Nathanius as always. Surely, obviously not the most pleasurable series to watch, just because it is 2 teammates scrapping it out. What are your thoughts?
I think Bunny's macro really slipped in this one. We could see this in the second game. Obviously, game 1 was just TLO going crazy with the 1-base cheese. But the thing that really stood out for me was that Bunny's trademark macro just wasn't there. I don't think this was his day. He was floating 900 gas at some point, had triple refinery. I just didn't really see the game plan. And playing with that Hellions, the Reaper opening was cool, but then they lost the Reapers. And no Hellions, Lings get out of control.
The wall off too, just not being there.
Yeah, just some very uncharacteristic mistakes. And I've seen Bunny perform much, much better than this.
It does come down to, on the day, you can be the best player in the world, but if it isn't your day, it just isn't your day, And Bunny, he's a guy that we know can perform extremely well.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to count him out for the future. Like, I've seen
Absolutely
him play insanely well.
Yeah.
Just not his day. And TLO definitely scraping that one together in a pretty good fashion. With especially that first map win, that's just one of those things that just like gets you because you don't expect the person to open up with the Lings, but then you also at the same time don't expect them to get to your base so fast, right? So.
Yeah, and you look at these new maps and you think about potentially, okay, that could be strong against me, but people don't do that, do they?
Exactly.
Like, you're against Dario? Okay, people do that.
The Wunderwunsch will do it.
The Wunderwunsch, yes. I bet he's on Team Liquid right now.
No,
Oh,
I think he's
All right.
probably
You
went
know what
to-
he's doing? He's getting ready to tell us off. He's over in the player area with Smix. Let's hear what Sifundavunch has to say about that series.
Well, we're right about to find out. First question, Dario, before we get into the juicy questions, do you plan on going on Team Liquid and reading the comments after this series?
Well, actually, I'm reading the comments about the other games because it's kind of interesting to know what happens in the other games because I can't watch the streams. But maybe somebody's going to make a comment about somebody in the other group, or in the same group that I am in. So, totally legitimate.
Yeah, the casters were definitely calling you out. They for sure thought you were reading up on your own comments. But let's talk about that game 2. Game 1 was very straightforward. It was a 3-minute game, very fast. Game 2 was a bit more exciting. It started with some aggression on your part that Bunny initially held off very well. And then let's talk about the rest of that game.
Well, I was pretty happy when I saw him going for Mass Reapers, but he scouted me late. So he couldn't really do any early damage. I went for gas before pool, so I'm going to get my speed upgrade out. But then I felt I mismicroed my links a little bit, and he actually killed a lot of links when I should have been able to catch his Reapers or counterattack. So I kind of felt I need to do damage to him now, so I decided to go for Ling Baneling. I want to call it a semi-all-in, because it still had a third and transitional possibilities. And then I made the mistake of attacking the Marines before my Banelings were finished, so I felt a little bit bad about that, but then eventually I was able to contain him in the natural, kill enough SCVs to be able to kind of... I felt crippled, but I was able to still transition a little bit ahead of him.
Well, with the win over Bunny, you just won against the Terran, you won against the Protoss and Majestic, and you did lose against Nurchio 2-1. And of course, we've already talked about this a lot today, how Nurchio has been highly regarded in Legacy of the Void. How are you feeling personally about ZvZ? And the reason why I ask is because when I spoke with Solar and Laser earlier, they both had very differing opinions, where Solar hates it and thinks it's entirely luck-based, and Laser loves it and thinks it's a lot better than it was in Heart of the Swarm. So how was it for you?
At the start, when Legacy came out and a lot of people started CVC, it felt more luck-based than now. People are starting to figure out how to actually hold 14 gas, 14 pool, or 13 gas, 12 pool, and stuff like that. The map pool makes it still a little bit more difficult because we have 3 4-player maps in it, and obviously that makes it a little bit harder, but I don't think it's really that luck-based anymore. It's people are settling, especially European CVC always has been a little bit ahead of the curve, even though the Koreans obviously are stronger, but I felt we understand the matchup better, but then we just get wrecked before we can show it. But I think when it comes to that, people are figuring out how to hold things, even though you play hedge first against pool first or stuff like that.
Okay, and I want to ask about you personally in Legacy of the Void. Of course, from the very beginning of StarCraft 2, everyone always praised you for your creativity. So with Legacy of the Void so fresh and new, how are the creative juices flowing?
Well, I love multitasking more than making up a build and then winning because it's something nobody ever saw before. So I feel I'm a little bit misunderstood sometimes, but because of that I love Legacy of the Void, but I don't think I'm playing crazy builds. I'm trying to play mostly standard builds with a little bit of a twist. When I see that I can go all in, like in game 2, I go for it, but I like to play longer games where I can show I attack here, I attack there, I'm faster than my opponent. It's not all about going creative strategies for me.
All right. And last but not least, you seem to be pretty confident and happy with how you've been playing so far, but your next 2 opponents are arguably the toughest of guys that are in this group. It's going to be Lilbo and TY. So talk to us about, how do you feel about headed into those matches?
Well, I'm not having any feeling one way or the other, really.
No feelings. What are you, a robot?
If anything that StarCraft taught us is that try to get rid of feelings.
Wait, you're talking like Stefano style?
It's more efficient not to feel.
All right then, good luck on your journey of no feels. We'll see how that turns out for you in your next 2 matches. Of course, guys, we do have more StarCraft 2 action coming up after this break. It will be Happy versus Puck, so we'll see if our last remaining North American hope can keep his run going strong at this tournament. Stay tuned.